Hi, and welcome to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. I'm your host, Ray Treverson from OTG Capital. We broadcast locally on Radio Northern Beaches and around Australia on the Community Radio Network, compliments of the Community Broadcasting Association of Australia. It's quite a mouthful. Those of you that aren't aware, there's 450 plus community radio stations out there. I'm told there is a listenership well over 1 million. If there's anybody out there, please let us know. We always love to hear from our audience every now and then. Now, I'm really pleased to welcome back to the microphone and screen Justin Bott, who is the Media Information Officer from Services Australia. You may know them also as Centrelink and also Family Office Payments and a whole range of different other things, but it's the government. They're here to help us, right? Who knows?
Certainly, that's what we go for. Yeah, absolutely we do.
So I used to love that line. Hey, we're from the government. We're here to help. There's certain jurisdictions I think I'd look over my shoulder a bit more these days, but I'm not going to get into that today. So look, today, what we are going to cover off, and we've actually done this on the program very briefly, but I thought it'd be really good that we go over this in a bit more detail, is look, everybody in this country is covered by Medicare. Okay, we have a national health system. For good or bad, it is what it is, and it's been with us now since Bob Hawke, I think, introduced it, if I remember correctly.
Medicare before Bob Hawke.
Yeah, probably.
Wasn't it Whitlam? Oh, I don't know. I shouldn't be saying.
I'd have to go back and look, to be honest, but I know that it was been always championed by the ALP, and so we've still got it. And it's one of those things that when people from around the world look at what we have from a national health situation, certainly not akin to what they have with the NHS in the UK, because they have the best teeth in the world. Why? Because the NHS covers teeth. We don't cover teeth here, but be that as it may, when you go to the doctor and you swipe or hand over your Medicare card details, Justin is here to tell me of something that we're overlooking. Now, the lovely thing about I like about Dollars and Making Sense is I like freebies and I like giving things away. And I also like giving things back to people that, maybe necessarily don't know they should have it back. And so, Justin, you're here to tell us a little bit about what's happening with Medicare payments today.
So, as you perfectly introduced, Medicare as a service where if you go to the doctor, whether they bulk bill or they don't bulk bill, you swipe your Medicare card. If you don't bulk bill, you'll pay an amount, swipe Medicare card, and then within a couple of days, the Medicare rebate gets paid back into your bank account. Now, the thing is that there is a very large number of Australians, and we're talking about almost 1 million Australians, so there's almost 1 in every 27 people that doesn't get the money back into their bank accounts. And the reason that they don't do that is simply because they haven't updated or given us their correct bank account details any longer. And so
repeat that. How many?
So it's about just under 1 million people, and we're talking about around $271 million in Medicare rebates that we aren't able to pay to people because we don't know where to pay it.
Shut the front door.
Yeah,
wow.
We want to pay it, but we can't because we actually don't have a legitimate bank account to pay that money into. Now, you would think, this is something that's very easy to fix online. You would think that might mean that there's a lot of older Australians that might not be doing this correctly. Not actually the case. The largest group of people that have money that is outstanding are people between the ages of 18 to 24 or so. There's about 250,000 of them. So that is the biggest group. About a quarter of the people that are owed money by Medicare is between 18 and 24. And the average owed is around $270 or so dollars per person. So basically, this is something that is a relatively easy fix, and there's a very good chance that you may be one of those people that have the money owed to you.
I guess one of the things that's been occurring now that we're in the second cycle of centre-left ALP government with our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, they've made a lot of noise about the fact that there are a lot more Medicare centres and places where you can go now and simply swipe your Medicare card without having to lash out your credit card. And again, I think they made a lot of political capital with that. And so would it be fair to say that there are a lot more people bulk billing now than they were maybe 3 or 5 years ago?
not actually in a position to know about the bulk billing rates, but what we can say is that when you do something, and I don't know if you've changed your bank account recently, but when you change your bank account, suddenly when you do that, then you discover all the different direct deduction payments that you have linked to that bank account. And if you're somebody that doesn't go to the doctor often, changing your Medicare bank details at the same time as you change everything else might not be front of mind, one of the first things. And if you're anything like me, you go to the doctor. And again, if you're bulk billing, this doesn't apply to you, because when you bulk bill, you're not paying anything, so there's no money coming back. But when you go to the doctors or you go to your specialists and you're paying the money from Medicare, you didn't check. You didn't look to see if the money actually went into your bank account. You just paid, and you assumed that everything is going to work the way that it's always worked in the past, and you haven't noticed for what might be potentially a while that you actually haven't received that Medicare money owing. And we just want to be able to get it back to people. So we want to take this opportunity to let people know what they have to do in order to get that Medicare money that's owing to them paid back into their bank accounts.
Now, I must say, this happens probably a little bit more than people might realize. I'm planning a bit of a break at the moment, and so I was doing some transactions online, and I got a notification from my bank saying, look, we think this particular transaction is fraudulent, so we don't recommend you go ahead with it. So I hit the no button. And as a result, my Visa card was stopped, and they had to reissue one. And the point that you make about, what you have as monthly subscriptions or deductions, you don't realize until all of a sudden you've got to change cards. And I'm sure this applies with bank accounts as much as it does with credit cards, because whether you pay with a direct debit from a bank account or you use a credit facility or a debit card, for example, all of a sudden, and I know, for example, my wife doesn't bulk bill because she's had the same GP for 30 plus years now. So when she goes, we see, the bill that comes in from the doctor, and it appears on the statement. And you're right. Then there'll be the Medicare payment, which is obviously the lesser amount of what they bill, and the co-payment, et cetera, et cetera. And so all of a sudden, I'm getting these, hey, why aren't you paying? All of a sudden, I found out my mobile service turned itself off because all of a sudden they weren't getting their money. And so it's quite amazing, because we set and forget. And I think this is a classic example, isn't it? When you're talking almost 1 million taxpayers have used Medicare and have money sitting there owing in the system for them.
Yeah, and when we talk about this, because there's so many people, if it's not you, there's a good chance that it's somebody that you know. So we recommend that if it's you hear this and you checked your phone to make sure everything's correct, and if it is, then next time you're having dinner with the kids and the grandkids, let's sit around the table and get them to check their Medicare bank account details and make sure that they're updated, because it's a good chance that they're one of those people that have money owing. And the nice thing is, this is a really easy thing to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need to do is you need to go to your to MyGov account. So you go either through the MyGov website, my.gov.au, and you've got your MyGov link to Medicare, or you go through the official MyGov app. Now, most of us already have our MyGov account linked to Medicare because we needed it for proof of vaccination during the pandemic. So you go to your MyGov account, you go into your Medicare account, you check your personal details, have a look at what bank account is actually registered there. If it's your present legitimate bank account, then it's a safe bet. You're not owed any money and everything's going fine. If it's not your present existing bank account, then if you change that account, if there's any money owing, so you correct it and give us the right number, if there's any money owing, then we'll pay it within 3 days. Now, the other thing about that is that you may find, if you haven't looked for a while, there may well be a message in your MyGov inbox that tells you that there is money owing to you for Medicare. And that you go to your MyGov inbox, again, doing the proper way, my.gov.au, or using the official MyGov app, using your passkeys to get into MyGov inbox, having a look at that, and it's, oh, look, there's this message that says that there's money owed to me by Medicare. Let's go and get that fixed up. And again, the process is so quick that by the time this interview is finished, if you had any mistakes, you'd have been able to fix it up, and any money would be paid within 3 days. It is a really quick and easy way to fix this thing up.
So look, while I've got you, Justin, we are going to talk a little bit about tech stuff today, because I know you and I have done shows before about Scam Watch. We've talked about, what kind of scams are out there and how Services Australia does and does not communicate with us as the taxpayers and I guess the clients of your service. But again, it's just a curiosity. So the best way to find out if you are owed money is to simply go to MyGov. Is that right?
If we have updated details for you, then we will have been letting you know. You should be able to find it in your MyGov inbox that there is Medicare accounts owing. But it's unfortunate that there is a group of people that we're not able to contact at all. Not only may they have changed their MyGov account, they may have changed their email account, they may have changed their address. And so we actually aren't able to get in contact, and MyGov isn't necessarily working. But for those that their MyGov is accurate and the bank account's just wrong, if you have a look in your MyGov inbox, you'll find it there. You're right. In the big warning, as we have talked about in the past, if you get a message that tells you that there's something within your MyGov inbox and that then says click on this link to get to your MyGov inbox, you know that's a scam. That's not legitimate. That's not from Services Australia.
Do not click.
Don't click on the link. No.
Do not click.
We will tell you that you have something in your waiting for you in your MyGov inbox. Then we want you to log in the long way round, which is either, again, go to my.gov.au and log in through there, or use your MyGov app and then link to Medicare. Now, we used to have another app. It was called the Express Plus Medicare mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do, that was first before the MyGov app came along, and you could do your Medicare business through the Express Plus Medicare mobile app. You will notice that if you used that for your business in the past, you can't use that any longer. That's actually been closed down. And the reason for that is pretty simple. All the features that we had and more has now been added to the MyGov app. But also MyGov had the ability to have pass keys connected with it, where the Express Plus Medicare mobile app didn't. So pass keys are the things that we've spoken about in the past, where you're allowing your phone to use things like facial recognition or fingerprint recognition as that extra level of security, rather than relying on a password which somebody might be able to find or scam out of you or trick you to give. You won't be able to do that with the pass key, because the pass key is going to look at your face. It's going to look at your fingers. And you're the only person that's got one of those. So it's going to be using that level of security. So the Express Plus Medicare mobile app has been shut, but the MyGov app is definitely the way that we want you to do business if you want to do it over your phone, or going to my.gov.au and using the website. But setting up pass keys rather than passphrases, passwords. We don't want passwords anymore. We want pass keys as the safe way to do that.
Great. Look, we're about half time. You're here on Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. I'm your host, Ray Trevisan. I have Justin Bott, the Media Information Officer from Services Australia. You know them also as Centrelink. We're going to take a short break, and we will be back with you in just a moment. Hi, and thank you for listening to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly radio program about finance, money, and investing on Radio Northern Beaches and nationally on the Community Radio Network around Australia. The views, comments, and opinions aired during our program should not be construed or viewed as financial advice. Any commentary is general advice only and does not take into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs. You should consider whether the advice is suitable for you and your personal circumstances. If in doubt, you should contact an authorised licensed financial planner. We welcome questions and feedback, and you can get in touch with us via our blog, social media channels, or email. Please search for Dollars and Making Sense in your favourite podcast platform, or check out our blog at otgcapital.com.au/blog. Hi, and welcome back to Dollars and Making Sense, a weekly show about finance, money, and investing. I'm your host, Ray Trevisan. I'm really pleased to have at the microphone this week Justin Bott, the Media Information Officer from Services Australia. You know them also as Centrelink, and we're talking today about things like MyGov, Medicare, and ScamWatch. We've done shows on ScamWatch before, but Justin, before we went to the break, we were talking about pass keys and IDs. Now, one of the ID functions that I've used, or starting to use a lot more now, that has a lot more wider use than just Services Australia, is government ID. So it's a bit laborious to set up, but I was just wondering, just as a mention, it's something that people can use to access their MyGov and their Services Australia accounts. Is that something you see people using a bit more these days?
It's officially, it's had a name change, so it's now called My ID. Is the way that's doing that, and it is broader than just Services Australia. So it is a way of putting your proof of identity on an online, safe online environment, meaning that other agencies might be able to grab your proof of identity from that one source. So yeah, there's a lot of convenience with it, and you can link with Services Australia through My ID as well. You can also just have the ID proof with your MyGov account, and so it's got the ID through there, and use that particularly for Services Australia and Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
But My ID is broader than just the one agency, so it's a resource that other agencies and non-government agencies, from what I understand, can link in as a way of getting access to proof of identity without you having to continue to bring out the passport and the driver's license and all that sort of thing, and be able to do that online. So yeah, My ID is the tool, and if you want to find out about it, it's myid.gov.au is where you can find everything about setting that one up.
Or go to your favorite search engine, etc., etc.
Yes.
Now, look, one of the interesting things and again, I can really relate to this because before my mum passed on, she hated this stuff. She hated doing anything on digital. She thought mobile phones were just, she just didn't like them. And so, given the fact that we've still got a lot of people, and obviously old age pensioners, that if my figures serve me correctly, the vast majority of people that are accessing Medicare these days tend to be older, because the older you get, the sicker you get. So you end up accessing these services. So if you've got an older person that is not tech savvy and really doesn't like, I guess, touching this kind of technology either every now and then or ever, what do you suggest for these people, that, for the listeners and viewers out there that really aren't that tech savvy?
So I fully understand where you're coming from. I always encourage people to give the online options a go. Basically, if you've got a smartphone in your pocket, you've got the ability to do an awful lot of interactions with Services Australia and Medicare. So basically, between Services Australia and Medicare, there's roughly 10 million interactions a week. 9 million of those are done online. So by far the majority of work that people do when they're working with Services Australia or Medicare is online, meaning they can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you've got the tools, it might just simply be an issue of I'm not necessarily comfortable using what I've got in my pocket to be able to use this properly. But in saying that, not everybody's got the tools. Not everybody's going to be in a position where they can be able to do that, or ever going to be comfortable to do those sorts of things online, and that's absolutely fine. So yes, we talked about the fact that you can very quickly update your bank account details through MyGov and Medicare account. And in fact, if you started doing that at the beginning of this interview, you probably would have had it fixed by now. But there's always going to be people where that's not going to work, and that's perfectly fine. So if you aren't somebody that feels that you are tech savvy and not comfortable going down that way, then you can always find out whether your bank account details are correct and fix them up by just ringing Medicare. So Medicare's phone number is 132011. That's 132011. If you give them a ring, they'll quickly be able to tell you what your Medicare bank account details are, and if they're wrong, they'll quickly be able to fix that up for you. And back to the same thing. As soon as we get the right bank account details, any outstanding rebates that are waiting to be paid get paid within 3 days. So if you're not comfortable using online services and MyGov and all that sort of stuff is just not language you want to be involved with, then you can always give us a ring on that 132011 and we can help you over the phone.
So people actually use telephones still in the government. It's nice to know.
Always an option that's available. You can always go into a service centre. You can always give us a phone call, or you can use your online services. Now, if the only reason you're not using online services is not because you can't, but you're just not really comfortable doing that, we can help with that as well. So one of the things that you can actually do is you can ring us up and make an appointment, or go in and make an appointment at your local service centre and make an interview for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 45 minutes, where you go in with your phone or your tablet and let them teach you how to use MyGov and how to use the online services.
Fabulous. So it's actually hands-on demonstration.
Yeah, you sit down with an officer and they've spent up to 45 minutes to train you and teach you how to use MyGov, how to be using digital services. Because it might be, I've got the ability, I just don't have the confidence. Well, we can help you with that one as well. And again, it's It's not that you have to. Absolutely, we'll always have service centers. We've always got the phone numbers. But if you have the ability to use online services, then what you're doing is you're actually freeing up the phone number for somebody who doesn't. So if we can get you to be involved in that online, and the only reason is just because you don't feel comfortable and you want somebody to hold your hand, we have somebody that will hold your hand and help you do that. Just make an appointment with them and get them digital coaching, and we'll teach you how to use your phone effectively.
That's brilliant. Another, and it's a free service, I guess.
Absolutely. Yep, all for you, because you're making everybody's life easy. Making our interactions will be smoother and simpler for you. Your interactions with Services Australia and Medicare will be available all day, every day, 7 days a week, whenever you want to do that.
It's brilliant. So look, one of the things that's been nagging me a little bit, and I must tell you, it's an old war story, but many, many moons ago when my kids were much younger and I was entitled to family assistance payments, one year we had a lot going on. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but we didn't put in our family assistance payment request on time. And when I went back and said, look, we had all these circumstances, they came back and said, too bad. There was a time limit. And I got pretty annoyed because I looked at them and I said, listen, we had all this palaver going on. So forget about that stuff. But I guess my question really comes back to $250 odd million sitting in government coffers. I'm sure Jim Chalmers must be sitting there going, beauty, that's mine now, because if it stays there too long, I'm going to take it. Is that the case, or is there no statute of time limitation on this Medicare money that hasn't been paid out?
There isn't actually any statute. So that money is just being held waiting for you. So however long that takes. So there's no time limit where that money will be taken away from you. The only thing that we need to do is make sure that you are you, like we know who we're actually sending that money to. Now, in context, yes, 271 million is a big number. But last year, Medicare benefits were paid out to 27 billion was paid out in Medicare benefits last year. So 271 million in comparison to 27 billion is actually a really, really small figure, but it sounds big.
It sounds big, but I'm just curious, and it's a cheeky question, I guess. Is there a GIC applied? So if you've had that money sitting there for a few years, do they get interest with it as well?
I actually don't know the answer to that one, but I haven't had any conversation that says it's the case. We don't want it to be there for that long. We want you to have it so that you can enjoy it. So we want you to be able to get the money that's yours, and it's just simply waiting for you, which is a simple system of going into your online account or giving us a call. As soon as you change those bank account details to legitimate bank account details, the money will be paid to you. So don't wait. If you haven't done it yet, have a look this afternoon. If you're one of the people that actually haven't got any money owing to you, then, that was me. I looked and hoped, but all my bank account details were corrected. There's no Medicare money outstanding, but you might not be one of those. So
it's akin, I guess. We've talked before on the show about lost super and how
exactly the same as lost super, same sort of thing. Yeah,
it's your money, guys, and I guess when that startling number of 18 to 24s are the biggest perpetrators of not getting their money. I sit there and scratch my head and go, wow, I would have thought, again, if social media is any indicator, that they're doing it tough. It's like, well, guys, make sure that you get all the payments that you are due, and that you're not bludging off the system. The system is there for you, and that's exactly, you're entitled to these payments, so you should take them. You should absolutely take them.
Absolutely, because it's the money is your money. We just don't know where to pay it. That's what it gets right down to. Yeah. So we want to make sure that the money who is owed to the right people gets paid to the right people, and they get everything that they're entitled to. But the only way you can do that is with those updated bank accounts. So absolutely get onto that one as soon as you can.
So let's just sort of wrap up and again, some key data points. So the first place they should be looking at is their MyGov account, right?
The easy access is MyGov account linked to your Medicare record. So go into Medicare through MyGov. In MyGov, you may notice there's a message in the inbox that says that there's money outstanding. You don't even need to do that. I mean, you can certainly see that it's there, but if you go directly into Medicare, have a look at your details, make sure the bank account that's there is your present, valid bank account details, and if it's correct, you don't need to do anything. If it's not correct, fix that up, and any money that's outstanding for you will be paid in 3 days.
That's pretty darn good, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so we've covered that off. We know about multi-factor authentication, and again, using pass keys now. So We're updating, and I think, continually, ladies and gentlemen, I make a point of this, not just with Justin, but with all my guests on Dollars Making Sense. Cyber security is everybody's responsibility. And Justin, we've talked about the fact that Medicare will never send you anything to click in the message. So never, ever click. Never, ever click, guys. Never click.
And when you access a pass key, turn off passwords. That's the other important part of it. So turn on pass keys and then turn off passwords. You don't want to have anybody to be able to secretly work out what your combination of your dog's first name plus their date of birth plus your postcode for your mum's address and say, right, that's your special phrase. None of that. Using those pass keys will take care of all the security features for you. So really recommend you do that.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we've had a great session today, Justin. It's always wonderful when we're passing back people's money that is theirs to begin with. So don't hesitate, ladies and gents, check your MyGov accounts. Justin Bott, thank you for being on Dollars and Making Sense. Again, another very informative session.
A pleasure. Thank you so much for having me again, Ray.
Wonderful. We look forward to welcoming you back soon. And all the best.